Hello lovely people, I'm going to show you today how I created a mixed media artwork based on this digital drawing that I created in Procreate, which I created while I was at the Murray River, which is on the New South Wales-Victoria border in Australia. So I have begun incorporating pyrography into my landscape artworks. Pyrography is wood burning, so I'm literally burning into wood here using a pyrography machine that has been set to a high temperature. It's a very slow process, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit and show you how I created the basic outlines of this artwork using wood burning. So I got to around this point when I decided that I should round off the edges. And you can just see me doing that here with an orbital sander. I actually drew some little corners on using round coins, and that gave me a bit of a guide as to how to create the right shapes for those corners. And back into the pyrography here, you can see just how slow it is in real time, which is why I'm going to speed up the video for you again. Once I'd finished creating a basic outline using pyrography, I started to add a little colour, and I typically like to use a few different paints. I actually just used acrylic house paint to begin this process. And time to start painting the Corellas. So these Corellas are a type of cockatoo. They were absolutely everywhere along the river that day. Really beautiful sight. Really noisy. They do like to make a bit of noise, but they're a gorgeous bird. Really common in Australia. If you've never been to Australia, come and visit sometime. I pretty much guarantee you're going to see some cockatoos at some point. Now, at this stage I started using acrylic paints, and this is like the first layer of my painting. I like to use acrylics and oil, which is a little bit of a different style. I just sort of like the combination that you get, but I'm really just throwing down some colour at the moment, not thinking too much about the detail, just getting a little bit of colour there as a layer from which to build on. Creating the water was a little bit of a struggle for me. I do like to paint water bodies, but it can be difficult. I like to use a lot of layers. I like to have a little bit of the wood actually coming through. That's sort of part of the fun of working on wood. You want some of the texture to shine through. So I've had to think about, where do I want the paint to be thicker? Again, there's going to be multiple layers of different types of paint. And here I'm actually dribbling a bit of enamel paint. It's basically house paint, just enjoying the kind of fluidity and lack of control I have when applying this paint. A few more details here with the wood burning, and I've incorporated a little bit of collage as well. So here I am using some brown bits of paper, really sticking them on, just trying to create different textures, different colours, adding a little bit more detail with the wood burning technique. Trying to create something a little bit different in this part of the artwork. And at this point, once I'd done a basic layer of acrylic paint, I put on some varnish. This varnish has a little bit of a tint, so it's not clear, it's got a little bit of a maple tint to it. And finally, it was time for me to add some oil paint, which is probably my favourite stage. This is where I can start to bring in more depth to the tones. And Corellas do have a little bit of pinkness around their head, a little bit of a grey spot around their eye as well. So even though it was a little bit crude, I did need to add some of these details to the birds here. Now you can get a final sense of the completed artwork and see where all of these techniques have combined to create the finished piece. So I do hope you've enjoyed watching my process here. I wonder how you find it compares to the digital piece. Obviously they look quite different, but it was good to explore the same idea in different ways. I do hope you've enjoyed. If you liked this video, hit the like and subscribe, and happy art making to everyone.